The history of the Philippines is full of fascinating stories and fearless heroes. Other countries, including Spain, have colonized the Philippines. When the entire nation was held captive by Spain for 333 years, the desire to reclaim their freedom and to regain equality between Spanish and Filipinos grew louder and louder. So with the brains of Jose Rizal, Marcelo del Pilar, Antonio Luna, and other propagandists, the propaganda movement was created. This nationalist movement can be viewed as a precursor to the Philippines' independence from Spain. But this movement needed a voice to express its goals. That's when the La Solidaridad entered the scene. But who established this patriotic newspaper? Let us know the story of the Filipino journalist, reformist, and national hero, Graciano Lopez.
I am Akisa Matud, and today we have one of student who was part of the research team about Graciano's Lopez story, Mr. Acmari Magadapa. Magandang umaga sa iyo.
Magandang araw.
Since we're here to know about more Graciano Lopez, can you tell us about the story of his life?
Well, regardless of Graciano's huge contribution in our history, his life was not easy. He was born in a poor family with his mother that worked as seamstress and a father that worked as a repairman. He was not able to take his desired course because his mother sent him to the Seminario de San Vicente Ferrer in Haro, as she believed that priesthood was the most noble occupation. But later on, he managed to take his first step on reaching his ambition to be a physician, when he finally convinced his mother that it was the better course of action. After having his mother's permission, he enrolled at the University of Santo Tomas. However, his admission was denied due to the reason that he doesn't have a degree of Bachelor Arts, for it was not offered as seminary in Haro. Unfortunately, his parents could no longer afford to keep him in Maynila. He had no choice but to go back to the Iloilo with the knowledge he had. He practiced medicine in some communities, but he was still able to direct at San Juan Dios as an apprentice. At the age of 18, he wrote the hilarious caricature Fray Boton. The story of the Fray Boton portrayed an early Spanish priest from the colonial era of the Philippines as greedy, corrupt, hypocrite, gluttonous, and lustful, as a form of propaganda and protestation. His work aimed to expose these horrendous characteristics of this abused priest. Through this caricature, he subsequently became very well known for addressing the injustice that occurred among the Filipino people. Although no one can prove that Jaena wrote the story, he received many threats to his life as a result of his ridicule and unholy way of local priests. There was a time when he was providing medical service to the local community. He discovered that many people were dying at the hands of the local mayor. As much as he wanted to seek justice for the deceased people, he knew that he not powerful enough to expose the truth, but he still refused to give false testimony about the deceased people dying because of natural causes. Yet, they only brought him threats from the higher power so he decided to move to Spain as an escape.
After moving to Spain, what his plans? Knowing that he came from a poor family, it would be hard for him to survive in foreign country.
It will be hard if he's alone, but he concerned friends lent him financial support, and with that, he took medical courses at University of Valencia.
So, he continued to pursue his dreams. That does mean he finally became a physician.
No, he did not. His thirst of reform nonetheless took him away from medical studies into writing for patriotic cause and establishing the genesis of propaganda movement 2 years ahead of Rizal and 9 years before Marcelo del Pilar. Rizal once reproved Graciano for not finishing his medical study. Jaena figuratively exclaimed, "On the shoulder of slave should not rest of the doctor's cape." Rizal, however, retorted, "The shoulder do not honor the doctor cape, but the doctor cape honor the shoulder." In Spain, Jaena became well known as a great orator in social political club and thus become a member of the Progressive Republican Party. Deputized by the party to go and speaking engagement, Jaena became popular for his fairly and eloquent speech, espousing liberal ideas.
Now that he met Rizal in Spain and the propaganda movements was established, what else did Graciano contribute or do that made him classified as a national hero too?
In addition to being a very prolific and effective writer, Jaena was also known as an early orator. Jaena was well known for inspiring the propaganda movement with his speech, which helped to move the Filipino people to demand change. He was the one who founded La Solidaridad that served as a voice of propaganda movement to increase Spanish awareness of the need of its colony. Philippines and to the propaganda close relationship between the colony and Spain. Although the propaganda movement did not succeed in its pursuit of the reform, it is still one of the reasons the Philippines Revolution happened. This what was made Lopez to recognize as a first Filipino propaganda who rallied and sought Philippines independency from Spain and therefore making him a hero.
Jaena, Rizal, and Del Pilar are regarded by many historians as the triumvirate of Filipino propagandists. At the age of 39, Lopez Jaena died of tuberculosis on January 20, 1896 and was buried the following day in an unmarked grave at the Cementerio del Suboeste of Barcelona. In the same year, Del Pilar and Rizal also died, thus ending the great triumvirate of Filipino reformers. Their legacy and death nonetheless inspired other Filipino heroes like Bonifacio and Aguinaldo to fight for the national freedom. Graciano may not be as famous as the other Philippine heroes, but there is no doubt that his works and actions helped save our land.